I often get asked what the best projects are to do within your home to increase resale value. So today, I'm going to talk to you about the best renovation projects with the best return on investment, or ROI. Stay tuned. Hi, I'm Jennifer Queen with the Jennifer Queen team and RE/MAX Professionals here in Winnipeg, Manitoba. And I would say I get asked at least a few times a week when I'm consulting with sellers just what kind of projects are the most worthwhile to do within their home to improve their resale value. I also get asked in this market too if it's worthwhile doing these projects. We're in a strong seller's market right now. Homes are going to sell regardless. People want to know if it's worthwhile to put the time and the effort and the investment into doing these projects, or if they'd be better off just to sell their home in an as-is condition. So let me tell you this. It is always better to put your strongest foot forward when you are presenting your home to buyers. So a few projects can go a long way. Also, if you're paying attention to the real estate gossip and you're hearing about all these homes that are getting 20 to 30 offers on them, those are the homes that show in the best condition. Buyers are getting much more competitive over the homes that are in a more move-in ready state or present less projects for them. So those are the ones where we're kind of seeing those record-breaking numbers. So yes, I would say it is worth it to do some projects, but perhaps not all. Without any further ado, let's get into it and talk about the projects with the best return on investment. First project I'm going to talk to you about is one that probably is a little bit more obvious, and that's going to be paint. And I am giving these projects to you in order of return, in my opinion. Paint is by far the best return on investment. It takes minimal cost to have your home painted or paint it yourself even for much less money, except the improvement is drastic. It can really freshen up a space, bring color and life back into a space, make your home feel much more clean too. And it kind of eliminates a lot of those signs of wear and tear that your home might have had, like my own. Say if you have children taking nicks out of walls when they're running around and just playing as children do. That paint has a huge impact on just how buyers perceive your home. Now, there are a couple things though that you are going to want to consider before you go and buy a paint and start painting, particularly color and the finish, I guess. So color is incredibly important, and I really recommend reaching out to your realtor to do a color consult. Find out what the trends are right now, what buyers are seeing out there, what they're responding to the best. A lot of colors right now are super neutral and a little bit more muted on the lighter side. But at the same time, you want to make sure that you are following the trends and getting that top dollar, not painting a color from 2 years ago where it now looks dated to a buyer who's out seeing more updated homes in today's market. Also, finish is important. Should you do an eggshell finish, a matte finish, a shiny finish? That really depends on the room and the light hitting it. Sometimes people go and they paint their home and they paint it in the wrong finish, and then it looks horrible when you're touring it, say in the afternoon and the sun is hitting it at just the wrong angle. So it's really important to make sure you're picking the correct finish for the room and the space you are painting. So just keep that in mind. Again, a realtor can advise on this. Also, before you go painting the entire house, I'm going to tell you, you do not need to do so. The best return on investment when you are painting, think main living spaces. So living room, kitchen, dining room, family room perhaps. But once you start getting up to the bedrooms and whatnot, I find even if your children's rooms are loud colors, I find the impact on buyers is much less significant and the returns aren't necessarily there. A lot of people plan to decorate their children's rooms for their children, so it being painted perhaps some more wild or loud colors, or even just more neutral colors too, is fine. It's just you're not going to get the return from repainting those rooms per se. And then the primary bedroom, you can paint it, but it's not the same return that you would be getting from the other rooms of the house in the main living space. Now, according to a RE/MAX study, The return on investment when it comes to painting, according to their study, was about 60%. I would actually disagree. I would say it's much higher than that. Their study was if somebody was spending between $10,000 to $20,000 to repaint an entire home, and I don't think that's necessary. I think you could have a much smaller spend and not repaint the whole home and have much greater returns. The next best ROI project that you can do in your home is changing what I call your home's jewelry. Anything that's kind of used to add some sparkle, dress up the home a little bit as the home's jewelry. So a prime example would be really the hardware, say, in your kitchen. Are your handles a little bit more dated? Do you have those little round knobs with flowers on them still? That is the decor you have within your home, then it might be time to give it a little update to something more modern. At the time of filming this, people are really into black and gold hardware. However, you want to pay attention to A, what works with your space, and B, what is on trend, and talk to your realtor to get that kind of information. But small projects like that have a huge impact. Other types of jewelry type items you could do would be perhaps updating some light fixtures within the home. If your home is starting to look a little bit more dated and you want to dress it up, just changing a light fixture here or there has a huge impact. That combined with the painting, honestly, you're giving the room a complete new look. So truthfully, while changing the jewelry is a much harder project to estimate real returns on, it hovers around 50% based on the studies that I've been reading, as well as this RE/MAX study I referenced earlier, which I will link in the comments section below. Next project with great return on investment is really any kitchen renovation project. When it comes to kitchens, you can really not go wrong. I shouldn't say that, you definitely can go wrong, but there is much more room for error, I would say, in that you can take on these projects and usually expect a return provided you are on trend and you're not going completely crazy buying crazy expensive materials. Now, if you've already upgraded your hardware, like the last recommendation for return on investment, then you've already tackled some of that, but think other projects within the kitchen, not necessarily doing the whole kitchen itself either. Does your kitchen have traditional cabinetry, maybe like more rectangular shapes that could be propelled forward with just some upgrades to countertops and perhaps some new appliances? Does your kitchen have nice clean lines already that could lend themselves towards perhaps newer design trends already? Then you might not need to do your cupboards. You could just add countertops and freshen up your appliances, get some newer on-trend appliances, and that alone could be enough of a facelift. Again, this is one of those kinds of projects that you're going to want to talk to your realtor about just to see what they think would provide the best return. But if you are in an area where it justifies, say, stone countertops, that might be worth the investment. But kitchens really do provide the most return. It's just a matter of how much you spend. So that makes it a little bit trickier to give a true ROI. Studies show though that anywhere from 50 to 100% return on your kitchen renovation investments. I still believe most of the time that you might not necessarily have to redo your entire kitchen though to get that return on investment. So give your realtor a call and let them consult on a case-by-case basis. The next project that I'm going to list actually has one of the highest potential return on investments in that it can go up to 150% return, and that is for flooring. I did kind of bury this one though towards the end of the list just because I wanted to extend some major cautions if you are looking at doing your flooring. Keep in mind that what buyers are looking for today are more solid surfaces. So if you are considering replacing carpet with more carpet, the return might be different. However, if you have a fully carpeted home, including living room, dining, etc., and you are thinking about putting in a more solid surface flooring, such as either hardwood, luxury vinyl plank, laminate, that does tend to have a better return, up to 150%, like I said. Things to keep in mind though, you need to have somebody that knows how to install these floors installing them. I cannot tell you how many a home I have shown with newer flooring installed, and there's little gaps like in between the floorboards, and that is indicative of a poor installation job. And when people are seeing through your floor to the subfloor, they're seeing these gaps, you're not getting those returns for the price you paid on the installation there. Also, when you're touring a home and you're seeing that the planks weren't properly placed in relation to one another, some people line them up specifically. Don't do that. That looks bad. Also, don't put too many ends of planks near one another, because that's also an indication that it was not professionally installed. Because if you have a bunch of floorboards ending near to one another, it actually impacts in a negative way the structural integrity of that area of flooring. That's the more likely area to start breaking up or showing some signs of wear and tear quickly if it's improperly installed. These are things as a realtor that I do point out to my clients when we're touring homes, because it is going to be a nuisance and annoyance to them, likely soon actually into their home ownership journey. So yeah, if you are installing flooring yourself, that's great. Make sure though that you educate yourself on that process. And honestly, if you don't know what you're doing, perhaps hire a professional, because you will lose all of that money you invested in those floors if you do a poor job installing them. Also, I should point out, you are only going to hit that 150% return as well if you are using appropriate flooring for appropriate spaces and you are on trend in your decisions. So again, sorry, but talk to your realtor, see what they think would be best for the space. If you are not replacing your flooring and rather perhaps keeping some carpeting within your home and perhaps some hardwoods, that's okay too. But you still want to really clean those up, because you will get really good return on investment for doing so. So for carpets, that means giving them a good deep clean, having someone come to shampoo your carpets, giving yourselves a few days to let them air out. I find that a lot of the time when carpets are freshly cleaned, the house kind of stinks for a couple days after. I think it's just all those odors that were in the carpet ruminating or something. It's gross, but give yourselves a couple days for that to air out. Same goes with floors. There are oils you can do on some hardwoods, or there's just like steam mops also to really shine them up. Just make sure your floors are looking nice and clean and sparkly when those buyers are touring. Bathroom renovations also have a fairly high return, usually around that 60% return. But again, this is another renovation that I've kind of buried lower on my list, and that's just because when you start getting into bathroom renos and plumbing, I find there's a lot of unknowns with those projects. If you are going to improve a bathroom with the intent of improving your ROI, always go for that primary ensuite. That will have the best return. Think spa-like atmosphere so that buyers can picture themselves kind of coming home after a long days of work and having perhaps a glass of wine and just kind of relaxing in that bathroom. Think spa. I did bury this one lower in the list too, because this type of project does get more costly. Like, we're talking usually about $12,000 and upwards for a major bathroom renovation. The last project I want to stress, and I left it to last just because I couldn't find any statistics giving numbers about return on this, but I think it should almost be near the top of the list just because it is so important, and that is improving your curb appeal. When people are coming to your home, they are already walking up to your front door and forming an opinion as to how the home is maintained and cared for. So if you have overgrown bushes, a door with peeling paint, you know, perhaps some loose handles or hardware out there, that is going to have a negative impact on how the buyer sees the rest of your home. So give your shrubs a trim, perhaps plant some flowers to brighten the space up. Of course, weed your garden. Maybe paint your front door if it's looking a little tired and dated. Make sure that the lighting around your door is nice and bright and you've replaced those bulbs. Anything you can do to improve that very first impression when buyers are walking up to your home, I think has a huge return on investment. And I would say like it's almost 200% what you would invest, because a lot of this is just manual labor and not anything that's necessarily that expensive to do. So these are the projects that you can do, but once you have done some projects to get your home into showing condition and improved your ROI, there is still one major factor that you really need to look at undertaking, or you're going to lose a lot of the value, or you could be leaving money on the table. And that is staging. I know if you've watched any of my videos before about selling, you've probably seen me talk a little bit about staging and the importance of it. And it's so true. Proper staging really improves the buyer's experience within the home. Done right, your home will have a natural flow for buyers when they're touring. It will present enough of a blank canvas for them that they can envision their own furniture within the space as well as their family living in the home. And it will also make the space feel bigger, brighter, and more welcoming. So staging is paramount to reaping the returns for any of the projects you just undertook. And I don't mean you need to bring in brand new furniture. You have to clear out your home and start from scratch. What I am saying oftentimes to clients is we just need to bring in a few pieces to kind of tweak this. Maybe we need to move this here. Maybe we need to take this out. And that is part of our process. We do bring a stager in and we go through room by room with her and discuss just how everything can be tweaked to improve that buyer experience and ultimately get you top dollar for your home. So that's really it in terms of the projects with the best return on investment, in my opinion, from what I'm seeing here in Winnipeg, Manitoba. If you have any comments, please be sure to include them in the comments section below, particularly if you think there's something I have missed. I always read those comments and find them incredibly helpful. Also, if you enjoyed this content, please be sure to hit that like button below. It really helps me in determining just what kind of content to come up with next. And be sure to subscribe to our channel. We're always coming out with new content weekly and we want to make sure you see it. Thanks and have a great day, guys.